Chapter 13. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks, and herds, and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked, and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent, and came, and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. So to recap Genesis chapter 13, at the beginning of the chapter, Abram, Lot, and Sarai left out of Egypt to return back to their original place between Bethel and Hai. Abram was very rich in cattle, silver, and gold. Once they went back to their original place, they called on the name of the Lord. Lot was with them. He also had flocks, herds, and tents, and this translated into wealth. Verse 6, they had too much wealth to dwell together. Verse 7, the land was already occupied by the Canaanites and the Perizzites. Abram and Lot's herdsmen began to have a contentious association or strife because of the limited amount of space. Abram said to Lot, We shouldn't have beef. We shouldn't have an issue. Neither should our herdsmen, because we're relatives. There's enough land for us here. We can separate. If you want to go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you want to go to the right, I'll go to the left. Lot took the right, which was the plain of Jordan, and this was very close to Sodom and Gomorrah, but not directly in Sodom and Gomorrah, while Abram took the land of Canaan. Then it says in verse 13 that the men of Sodom were wicked, and they exceedingly sinned against God. So this is a dangerous, severe area, and Lot chose to be right next to it. God told Abram in verse 14 to look north, south, east, and west. Told Abram he'd give them all the land he could. He told Abram he'd give him all of the land he could see, to him and to his offspring forever. God told Abram that his offspring will be as numerous as the dust particles on earth. God will give Abram the land as far as he can walk. Abram went to Mamre in Hebron, and he built an altar to the Lord. Some additional points I would like to make. Abram was only rich after his stint in Egypt. In chapter 12, there was no problem with Lot, Sarai, and Abram traveling or settling in between Bethel and Hai. Because of Sarai's beauty alone, Lot and Abram received so much wealth that they began to have conflict with their servants because there was not enough space. Another thing to note, Sarai, Abram, and Lot did not have jobs. Abram's dedication to God and to his wife, combined with Sarai's beauty, generated so much wealth that Lot had to go to another territory. Well, that's all for chapter 13. I'd rather move on to the next chapter. Okay, we will start on chapter 14.